This is Sparta! Welcome in to the Bro Force Squad podcast, where we are just a bunch of bros drinking beer and talking movies. This is episode 153, and I am your host, the Mayor, Jeff Hornacek. Thank you guys so much for checking us out for the movie discussion tonight. Before we get started, we must go around and meet the fellow bros. We begin in the paint with our enforcer, Matt Geiger. Now, Matt, it is NBA playoff basketball time, and I don't know if you saw the absolutely gruesome and devastating, borderline illegal shot LeBron James took to his shoulder this past week. So I have to ask you, as someone who's probably been in 1,000 bar fights, have you ever seen something so horrific and graphic?
Sorry, I'm practicing my apology in Mandarin because I told someone I thought Taiwan was a country, and 2 of our 10,000 subscribers are from China. Speaking of, do you guys know what I'm even talking about? Did I just go over every listener?
No, it was John Cena, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he needs to be the geography expert.
I don't know or care if it's a country. I couldn't even point it out on a map. But LeBron, honestly, man, this is where I hate about the NBA, Jeff. It's starting to become French League soccer, where I know Cycling is probably just pounding his dashboard right now. Like, they're men too, Geiger. But flopping in the NBA just needs to get the fuck out of here, especially when you're built like a fucking tank like him. I don't know if you've seen on social media that one guy took a 98-mile-per-hour fastball to the cheek and laid there, like, not even as long as LeBron did.
I think he played the next day.
Yeah, he played the next day, I'm pretty sure.
Can rub some dirt on it.
What would happen if LeBron, and I have been a LeBron apologist for a long time, but it's getting a little ridiculous.
You don't have to say you're sorry, because I like LeBron, but it just seems that he'd never flop like that when he's with the Heat or anything. I don't remember it anyway.
It's reached new levels, I feel like.
And he wasn't as outspoken, like giving opinions on stuff he has nothing about to, like, he wasn't that bad. He just wanted to win games.
That's what happens whenever you decide you're going to do a stupid ass fucking movie like Space Jam 2.
That's where all the problems started. The Toon Squad's a bad influence on him, man. I wonder if they asked him if he wanted to do drugs also.
Probably on steroids.
Yeah. Next, we go into the lab to the mad scientist, Brian Banner. Now, Banner, this is actually a true story. I know you shared with me, probably off pod, some early concept art of what a potential new lab you're working on is going to look like. So, do you want to go a little HGTV on us here? Or is there anything you would care to share with the listeners about the upgrade? Maybe a little peek behind the curtain, if you will, on what you're working on over there.
Well, I am turning the lab into the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. Unfortunately, the plans are on hold because the price of wood is a gajillion fucking dollars.
You are going to have Han Solo's dice, correct?
Don't fuck with me. No. No.
I had to go there and ruin it. But those are so significant.
Now I'm gonna have to like make something different. I can't have because I have to include the dice, but I can't.
You don't have to include the dice. Nobody can make you do anything you don't want to do, except your wife. All right. Well, we begin every episode of the Bro Force Squad with the most important thing in any bro's life, and that is chest day. And for chest day today, I'm actually going to turn it over to Matt Geiger. Matt, we're doing something a little bit special here. This is an idea you have had for several years, and we've talked about off-pod many times drunk at a bar. But tonight we're finally going to have this discussion on pod. Why don't you tell people what we're doing as it pertains to movies?
Yeah, I don't know if I had this.
I feel like it was you. Or maybe you kind of planted the seed and then one of us watered it.
So yeah, Jeff, this game basically, should we just call it Let Me Be Your Agent? And take an actor or actress and just, you'll probably think of some of these in your head, but we're going to give you some examples where their career's just fucking rolling and they make about 1 or 2 mistakes and now they're at the fucking bargain bin at Walmart, all of their fucking movies. And it's basically like, Thurman's Back Nine. He starts off par, birdie, par, and then he shoots like a 47, and at the end he's like, what the fuck happened? The shit just kind of went south really quickly. So we're going to pick some actors or actresses, tell them the movie career where they started to blossom or they were the it actor, and then we're going to say where it all went wrong and how if we were their agent that would not have happened. So I guess I'll throw it to Banner first.
Yeah, great. And sorry, Brian, before you go, I think the premise behind this is we always go back and rewatch movies from like the late 90s, early aughts, and we're like, how did this person not become bigger in Hollywood? They had the world in the palm of their fucking hands. So with that lead off, Brian.
So mine is not necessarily that later in their career they went off the rails or anything, but if you're this guy's agent, how the fuck do you allow him to go and start racing cars? And that's Frankie Muniz the fourth, by the way.
He's
Really?
the fourth?
He's the fourth, yes. Francisco Muniz the fourth.
God.
Yeah. You are on Malcolm in the Middle, The Star, win an Emmy for your role on that. Growing up, you're in and out of every fucking kids movie.
Agent Cody Banks.
Agent Cody Banks, My Dog Skip, Big Fat Liar.
Dog Skip.
Dude, My Dog Skip. Forgot about
Luke
that.
Wilson or Luke
Yeah, Luke
Wilson's at the end of that,
Luke
right?
Wilson, yeah. So just red hot coming into his late teens, early 20s. That's when you really start to make your bank. And he goes, nah, I'm gonna drive open wheel racing. And then he's like, well, I'm actually gonna be a drummer in an indie rock band.
Like in real life?
Yeah, the band's called Kingsfoil.
God. Geiger, imagine we're at like some fucking outdoor concert and we're like, yeah, this band Kingsfoil.
Download them on Spotify, right?
I never heard of them. They're opening for Blink 182, and we come out, we're shit-faced drunk, and Frankie Muniz is the drummer for them. Brian, I'm looking at Frankie Muniz's Wikipedia, and let me just talk about how bad things have gotten for him, okay? So in the last, I don't know, we'll just go the last 6 years. He was in Sharknado 3, Oh Hell No is the title. Then he did, and this is when you know things have gone bad, and Matt as his agent, this is where we're like, dude, Frankie, you got to do this, bro. We need the paycheck. He was on Dancing with the Stars 2017. And then 2018, he went on Dancing with the Stars Juniors.
What is Dancing with the Stars Junior?
I don't know.
Do you think Miracle in Lane 3 is where it all went wrong with his racing? Do you remember that movie? The Disney Channel movie?
That's where he drove the boxcar, right? And he was in the wheelchair.
Because he's a paraplegic.
Yeah. Big fucking deal because he had to use a hand brake instead of foot brakes.
And that was like the controversy.
Yeah.
Well, it was, but the Miracle in Lane 2 was there was a transgender in the car, so that kind of shattered Frankie in Lane 3, if I recall it right.
Well, that's where he has to become transgender also to one up him or her.
And then in Lane 1, there's someone in there, they're just black. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So Frankie is kind of just like the lowest one on there.
Also in 2019, and apparently this show is actually really good, but there's a Harley Quinn animated show that's like kind of adult themed, and he played himself on it, which I just want to know what actual Frankie Muniz, how they write him into the Harley Quinn show.
As an animation.
I know.
He's played himself more in movies and things than he's actually played actors in the last 6 years.
You're right. Looking through this, that's kind of crazy, actually. I think half of his credits on his Wikipedia filmography are himself.
Yeah.
Which is weird because he wasn't in like, Karate Kid where, he could just play Ralph Macchio.
No. And Banner, it's interesting you bring him up. I guess he was maybe not necessarily he was a child actor in Malcolm in the Middle, but kind of like a preteen. But it's not like a Macaulay Culkin situation where you said, oh, well, he's only popular as a kid because he's so adorable and affable. Because Malcolm in the Middle is basically a shithead. Like that's kind of the point of it.
100% he's a shithead.
So it's not like Macaulay Culkin where he's like the boy next door and everybody falls in love with him. And then when his looks fade, his career
gets addicted to Oxycontin.
Something like that, yeah.
That's the thing. Frankie Muniz didn't do anything to fuck up, right? Like if you're his agent, you're sitting here going, look, you are red fucking hot. You can get any role you want right now. He doesn't even have to be a good actor, right?
No, and I think if we're looking at the agent perspective, 2003 is when this thing really fell off the map. That's when he did Agent Cody Banks. And then after that, next year he did the sequel to Agent Cody Banks, but then it's pretty much over.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
I mean, those are all bit roles or like
Himself.
scary movie sequels.
I forgot he was Buddy Holly in Walk Hard, though.
Yeah, just like a brief scene. And then he was in Extreme Movie, one episode of like a few shows.
But most of these shows he plays himself. Is that like a bit in Hollywood where they're just like, hey, Frankie, we're going to give you $1,000 to come on our show and play yourself?
I think it's when you know you're living in the end, when it, like you become the punchline.
Yeah, when you're the joke.
Yeah. Sad times. All right, that's a good one to start with. Geiger, how about you? Who was someone that if you were their agent, maybe we could have corrected this fall from grace?
Dude, Cuba Gooding Jr.
Great one.
Wow.
Okay, first off, Boys in the Hood, great fucking movie. Obviously, Jerry Maguire is where, like, when I think of him, I mean, I think of, I guess, Jamie Foxx, but I really think of Denzel. Like, name one role that Denzel is up for that you wouldn't think Cuba'd be up for. Men of Honor is another one, A Few Good Men, until the 2000s happened, guys. And then we get Snow Dogs, Boat Trip, Radio.
Do you think Pearl Harbor is what killed it? Because that was right before all those movies.
Pearl Harbor is 2001, yeah. But he does, you know, Daddy Day Camp, The Fighting Temptation. Like, what the fuck? Like, they're all like rom-coms or like Disney kid movies. Like, what the hell's he doing? And he was taken as, if you consider black actors before 2000, he's like, it's him, Denzel, and Jamie Foxx, probably the big three.
So aside from 2007 to, we'll say 2012, aside from Red Tails, he did direct-to-video.
I was going to say
movies.
14 out of 15 of his projects were direct-to-video. And 14 out of 16, the two that weren't, one, he was a cameo role in Don John, and the other was a limited release in Life of a King. So we're either straight to DVD or you're really not even in the movie.
And I'd say the best acting he's done in the last 10 years was OJ on the FX series.
Yeah.
100%.
I think, and I'm not saying that, just like, what the hell happened though? Like, after Jerry Maguire, which I think he won an Oscar for, supporting actor. I know Regina King won an Oscar for it.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got, I think Radio was the one, he's like, okay, this is going to be the Oscar. But we all remember what Colonel, I can't remember his fucking name from Tropic Thunder. I'm not going to repeat what he said, but I don't get his, I mean, Snow Dogs. He was in Norbit for a while.
Kirk Lazarus, yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
The thing is he's a good actor. So, like, why?
A great actor.
And that's why this is a great one, because it's got to be on the agent, right? It's got to be on these roles.
Yeah, because name a role that Denzel got that Cuba shouldn't have been up for. Shouldn't have Cuba been in the names for Django? He would have been great in that role.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Tarantino's like, dude, he's just coming off Snow Dogs.
I did actually forget this, and we got to give him credit. But again, here's the agent thing. So these are this is his 2007, okay? It's rough, but there is a diamond in the rough here. Norbit, a joke. Daddy Day Camp, horrible. He was in American Gangster.
Yeah, but he was like fifth billed in that, wasn't he?
Right, but at least the guy got him that.
T.I. was higher billed than him.
But then his agent rounds out the year by having him voice Lufa, the Bayapiosaurus, in Land Before Time 13, The Wisdom of Friends.
But we all know the Bayapiosaurus is the most exclusive of all dinosaurs.
Matt, if you're an agent and I'm your actor you're representing, and you bring to me a Land Before Time movie, that's when I know, like, look, this isn't about your reputation anymore. This is about how do we buy groceries next week.
Cuba, listen, we got to meet face to face on this because I got a script. I mean, it's hurting my hands holding it right now. It's so fucking hot. Can't wait to get it in your hands.
It's like, so you saw the first 12 Land Before Times, right? Cuba's like, of course, yes. He's like, well, they really are doing something crazy here with the 13th.
So, I mean, it's been in purgatory hell for a while, this script, but 13's coming out.
The director said he wrote Lufa the Bayapiosaurus with you in mind. Really? He said that? Yeah. No, your name specifically. Oh my God, poor guy.
All right, Jeff. Who you got?
Well, this might be low-hanging fruit, but because he was a part of literally the biggest box office bomb of all time. But I got to go with our boy Taylor Kitsch for mine.
Love Taylor Kitsch on Friday Night Lights. I really thought he'd be something.
Yeah, this is a guy that had a short window to strike while the iron's hot, and his agent fucked him over. So Friday Night Lights, of course, in 2006, puts him on the map. He was incredible in that show. Huge cultural significance, very popular. But his agent, as far as movie roles, I think he went for, look, let me just get you in a blockbuster. It doesn't matter if the script is shit, which we've learned now. I don't want to mention the guy in case his name comes up later, but your first blockbuster, if it's a bomb, that's a lot of times it, right? Like, you don't really get a second chance. Mm-hmm. So outside of Friday Night Lights, these are really the three biggest movies between 2006 and 2012 while the show was running that Taylor Kitsch was cast in. Snakes on a Plane, which kind of became a cult classic later, but
no, he was in that.
I don't think I realized he was in that either.
And then these next two, again, big blockbusters, but your agent has to do their due diligence and sort of play double dutch, wait for the right project to come along, because he played Gambit in X-Men Origins Wolverine, which I really think was like his first big foray, and of course that movie was destroyed critically
and by the fans,
right? And his iteration of Gambit, I don't think was really what anybody wanted.
No. He was trying too hard.
And then, of course, John Carter comes out, which is, I believe,
careful here.
No, well, still to date, I'm just talking about getting roles in Hollywood. It is financially the biggest flop in the history of Hollywood.
Yes.
In terms of budget and gross. So
I still watch it.
Sure.
But it's like, oh, yeah, of course. You just want to go off budget and gross, whatever that means.
Yeah, but if you're a studio and you're like, all right, we need a bankable actor, like Taylor Kitsch, if that's his resume, you're just kind of like, all right, we'll call you. You know?
You left one out, which is actually a really good film. Savages.
Oh, yeah, with Aaron Taylor Johnson and Blake Lively.
Benicio del Toro and Blake Lively. It's actually really good, and he's good in it. But like you said, man, those are movies that just kind of put the cherry on the top, but you need like the big blockbusters to hit. So by that time, they're like, he's just done. He's in Battleship too, wasn't he?
He is in Battleship. And then I the ship had kind of sailed at this point, but I'm actually one of the few people that likes him in True Detective season 2. Although it was a very, very confusing season of television. That was one with Colin Farrell, Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, I couldn't follow it. I will say also, though, you got to give him, again, good actor in Waco. He played David Koresh, and he was phenomenal in that.
So this might be a guy who's finding his footing later on in his career, but certainly in the late 2010s when Friday Night Lights was starting to wrap up, and you're thinking, all right, this guy's red hot. He's an attractive young guy in Hollywood. The world should be at the palm of his hands. His agents kind of fucked him with those two roles. We could have fixed it. I could have read the script to X-Men Origins Wolverine or taken a glance at John Carter and probably been like, maybe we just sit this summer out and wait for the right project to come along, Taylor. Yeah. I understand it's hard to say at the time, though, for sure. All right, anyone else have any other ones? Brian, do you have two?
I've got one, but I'm going to flip this one on its head here. So these have all been the agent has fucked up, right? In not getting these actors roles. Now I'm going to turn around and I'm going to say this agent fucked up by taking this person on as a client. And that's Vin Diesel. Do I need to say more?
Mark
you can't
Sinclair?
fucking...
You mean Mark Sinclair?
Excuse me, yes. Mark Sinclair. I mean, the guy he won't do sequels, but he'll do 9 other movies. Okay? So you have to navigate those waters. He has to wear a muscle shirt in everything he fucking does.
And he's not in shape anymore.
And he's fat, so that happened. What else? I mean, you can't get rid of him. He's like herpes.
I will say, it's kind of crazy that he's carved out the career he has, because Matt knows this. Early on, he was the guy that we knew for Boiler Room and Saving Private Ryan, and now he's Vin Diesel. I don't know if you guys heard this. He's also going to star in the upcoming Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie.
What?
Thank God they're making one of those.
Yeah. It's about fucking time.
We've all learned, which we'll learn on my next one too. Something that was popular like in the 70s that now those people are like 50 or 60 and don't go to theaters just fucking kills at the box office.
Yep. That kids don't know what the fuck it is.
Yep.
Because 25-year-olds have no fucking clue what that is.
Or if you showed it to them, they'd be like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Like, wow, this was fun for 5 seconds. I'm going to go play fucking Call of Duty now.
Dude, imagine Rock'em Sock'em Robots, you just mash this little button in front of you, and then if you win, your reward is the robot in front of you's head pops up 3 inches.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like fun to me.
I mean, Jesus Christ. That's how, like, the boomer generation, and none of them listen to us, so I'll just fucking say this anyway. I'm not surprised you're the generation that fell in love with the stick that had the bouncy ball attached to the string on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was like the shit to them.
That's like what you win at the fair, like your county fair.
We're going to go off the rails a little here, but I was going to say, if I told you what's going to make more money at the box office, the Emoji Movie or Rock'em Sock'em Robots, what would you guys have said?
The Emoji Movie.
The only reason I would say the Emoji Movie is kids.
Yeah. I grossly missed on that comparison because guess how much money the Emoji Movie made?
I'll say
it was. Let me start with this. It was
$65 million.
It was a $50 million budget.
I'll still say 65.
Geiger?
I'll say 64.
You would.
$218 million.
That's why the terrorists hate us.
Jesus.
Yeah, man. You animate anything, people will go see it. It's really disgusting. All right, Geiger, you got anybody else?
Yes, 2 more. I'll just do one more right now. So this actor in high school, when we would say their name, it went right along with like Tarantino. Like this dude's fucking movies, like were legit, like great roles. He was great in it. One of the best actors I've ever seen. And then we all know what happened. I'll just name a couple. Platoon, Blow. Let me see. Sleepy Hollow was a good one. Crybaby was good. What's Eating Gilbert Grape won an Oscar for that. And then, of course, Edward Scissorhands is kind of where he got his big start. Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp was the fucking man. When he was doing a role, you knew it was. I mean, Jeff, it was almost like who's the actor we always fucking talk about?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, he's almost like Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, I'm like, man, this is gonna fucking rock. Now, whenever he's on a movie poster, you roll your eyes like, so he needs money now? Like, what the fuck's he doing in this film? When actually, he's like one of the best actors in the film. Pirates was the best and worst thing that ever happened to him, and here's why.
100% agree.
Pirates of the Caribbean could arguably say one of his best movies, even one of his best acting roles. Even though it's kind of popcorn, he is fucking brilliant in that. The problem is his agent saw, okay, Disney movies. So he probably signed like a 10-picture deal with Disney. Is like, but he's Johnny Depp. Let's do it wacky. Like he's a wacky guy. So let's do Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Let's make him the Mad Hatter and Alice in Wonderland. It's just so much fucking terrible, stupid shit. Like name one like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas movie he did. Some of the movies that he did that were good, but just didn't make much money. Public Enemies was good. It was just really fucking dry. Which was weird because Christian Bale was in that too when he was red hot off Batman. Black Mass is a good one too, but also it's really dry. Donnie Brasco is one that was back in the 90s. That was a fucking brilliant movie with Pacino. But I would like to hear your guys' take, especially Banner as a big Pirates fan. I love Depp, but now his thing is anytime I see him in movies, like, what the fuck is he doing in here? He must want money or it's just some stupid role. And for some reason, guys, on Google, he's billed in 2022's The Flash movie. I don't know if you've heard that, but it's on Google.
Interesting.
Like it's on there. It says The Flash movie 2022. Johnny
Doesn't
Depp.
have a character or anything, though.
He doesn't need a character, Jeff.
He is the character.
He'll become the character.
He's just going to pull a Frankie Muniz and play himself.
Brian, before we toss it, do you all say this, Matt? Depp is so talented that it helps me cope to really think about his career in 2 parts, right? There was the Johnny Depp career, and then there was when he kind of had to sell out. Because all the roles you mentioned at the beginning from the mid to late 90s, I mean, he was the actor in Hollywood and showed his ability. And that's really what, I mean, not that people give him a free pass for doing all these movies, but that's why I think Hollywood keeps coming back to him, because they're like, even in all those insanely ridiculous roles that you just mentioned, he's still kind of entertaining to watch.
Like he's good as the Mad Hatter. When I heard that first, I'm like, that sounds kind of cool. But then that was just a recipe. We didn't even talk about the Lone Ranger, where it's just like, okay, so he's just like playing like characters we already know. Like he used to just like create a character. Now he's just playing characters we already know. I'd say the last movie he did that was a Johnny Depp movie is kind of right after Pirates with Secret Window, which is a very good movie.
I like that movie.
But that was like the last. I'm like, dude, this seems like something Johnny Depp would pick, not something that, oh, this is a Disney film, it'll make a ton of money.
No, we forget about Dark Shadows also.
Oh God, and the one where he's Sweeney Todd.
Oh yeah, even Barbara
why?
Street.
The Tourist, which is one of the worst movies ever.
With Angelina.
Here's the thing with Johnny Depp. Like you said, he is extremely talented. Even in these weird, wacky roles, he still tries. And for me, that goes a long fucking way. And I was fine with, all right, hey, I need money. We signed Pirates. We did Alice in Wonderland, Lone Ranger, whatever. Look, everybody's got to make their nuts somehow.
Right.
But then you go on and you go, hey, I'm going to do the sequel franchise to the Harry Potters when he got into Fantastic Beasts. And he was the big surprise at the end. That was when I'm like, all right, look, I'm done. This is getting ridiculous. But you turn around, he still fucking tried, and like he was good in that.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to say. I can't, and I'm sure someone out there has a good suggestion here that they want to throw in the comments below. But I can't off the top of my head think of a time that he actually has mailed it in on a roll. Sometimes to his detriment, like Matt said. Sometimes like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it's like, dude, do less.
Like Gene Wilder already murdered that role. You can't redo it.
Right. And now off topic, but I just read Timothy Chalamet is playing Wonka in a prequel film.
I heard that too. I'm interested in this. I'm interested in, I love this. Whenever we have a movie that's adjacent to something else that we already love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about that. So is it like, we'll talk about it later. Let's move on.
Yeah, Depp's a good one. I just have one more that I want to mention. Because I kind of feel bad for this person. Not that I don't feel bad for like any of these people, but they're also still probably millionaires. And that's Liv Tyler.
Mm.
So Liv Tyler, between 1998 and 2008, I mean, she had Hollywood by the balls.
Yep.
Obviously, she is the daughter of Steven Tyler, lead singer of Aerosmith. Matt, that had nothing to do with her getting into Hollywood. Okay?
Well, I think some of her risque videos did. It was like my first boners.
What's the video she's in with Alicia Silverstone?
She's in Crying and I think Angel.
God.
There's like two of them. They're in there together.
To go back and rewatch those.
Having
tonight.
fun.
Just a couple kids trying to fuck.
But honest, I get it.
So here's what she did between 98 and 2008. Just the big ones. Obviously Armageddon. Then her agent got her the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which, like, if you can get somebody in those movies, Cate Blanchett was in those too. Obviously Viggo Mortensen, the whole rest of the gang. The Incredible Hulk, which at the time, big get, Edward Norton in it.
Mm-hmm. She was good in that.
She was really good in that. I kind of
that was the one with she wasn't the one with Norton. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
that's not
she
the
was
Banner one.
Jennifer Connelly is Betty Ross in the Banner one. And then she did The Strangers in 2008 also, which I still think pound for pound is the scariest movie I've ever seen in my life. Then her management team fell asleep at the wheel. And I'm going to read you all of her projects since The Strangers in 2008. That's 12 and a half years. Tell me if you've even heard of any of these. Okay. Super, The Ledge, Robot and Frank, Jamie Marks is Dead, Space Station 76, The Leftovers, which actually I've heard that's good, the show on HBO. So that one doesn't count. Gunpowder, that was a TV show. Wilding, Harlots, that was a TV show. She had a small role in Ad Astra, and now she's on 911 Lone Star, the TV show.
What was the one in Frank?
Robot and Frank.
If your agent gives you a script, it's called Robot and Frank. Just fire him. There's no is that something on Adult Swim? It has to be.
I don't know, man.
It looks like I'm literally going off of the poster. It looks like it's like tries to be maybe a dramedy, science fiction, dramedy.
Oh, good. We need all those genres.
Too many things. Needs to be
it
just
looks
one.
like Wall-E meets Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Although the cat, I mean, I'm just looking at the poster. Frank Langella, is that James Marsden? James Marsden and Susan Sarandon. But no one else ever heard of it or saw it. So my point here is, if you're Liv Tyler's agent, you did her a disservice, because after 2008, I mean, she was rocking and rolling. And I didn't see it on her filmography, but I'm guessing her character, because I thought she was an elf, but I guess she was not a part of any of the Hobbit movies, because I know Lee Pace was able to come back for those. I guess she couldn't convince him to. And it does kind of suck that Marvel hasn't thrown her a bone. Maybe she'll show up in the She-Hulk series.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. All right, I'm out. You guys have any other ones?
I got one more. I want you to think on Titanic, Leonardo DiCaprio, and then every role he's done since then.
I was hoping you'd do this one, but
no,
okay.
It's not Billy Zane.
Damn it!
Wow, it's not. Okay.
Billy Zane. I don't think any of us picked him because he's like the obvious one,
yeah.
Right?
Okay. If one of us were his agent, okay, every role Leo's got since Titanic, couldn't we have got Macaulay Culkin at least a fucking? I'm not even gonna say his popcorn flicks. My Girl, Good Son, Page Master. I mean, dude,
Good Son is so creepy.
Act. He could act at a young age, just like Leo. Like Leo is a kid that grew up in the business that was acting at a pretty young age, not as young as Macaulay. And if you looked at some like 2004 when he was in, I think it's a show. I don't think it's a movie. Saved. I mean, he's still a good-looking dude. You could get him. I mean, he could have been in Romeo and Juliet. I mean, he could have been in Titanic. I mean, Leo wasn't big, and then like you could have got him just one of these big roles. Just his name alone, that's like, hey man, he's coming back to acting, would have been like Joe Pesci coming back. Because he wasn't just a childhood star that's like, oh yeah, he was kind of funny in Home Alone because he screamed. Like, he could fucking act. And if you had a good agent and just be like, hey man, I understand you're kind of done with the business, but let's just do a couple of these big fucking ones, and you just do like a big movie every year, kind of like Daniel Day-Lewis every like 3 or 4 years. I could have fucked with Macaulay Culkin, I think.
I almost think with Culkin, he was like Icarus, right? He just flew too close to the sun. He had an insane amount of films that he popped out in like a 5-year stretch. People even forget about like Uncle Buck, you know?
So I got it up here.
He had
1989. He was in a movie in 88, 89. Home Alone was in 90. 93, 2 in 94, 1 in 91. He was in a movie in every single year.
They had to break like some sort of child labor law for him to make that many movies, that many consecutive years. Dude, this is gonna sound awful, but like I kind of see how he got addicted to drugs.
Yeah, he barely had time to get touched by Michael Jackson, which I mean, you have to pencil that in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right.
Geiger, what's the line from Zoolander where Mugatu was talking about wanting children to work in the factories in Malaysia? He's like, in Malaysia, they have no child labor laws. Kids can work as much as they want.
Was he in Zoolander? He's credited in it.
He is?
Macaulay Culkin is in 2016 one? Zoolander. Zoolander number 2. Was he in the second one?
Oh, probably. Like I told you, that's the movie I've tried to block out of my...
It's kind of like my uncle touched me that one Christmas. I just try to not remember it at all.
Billy Zane is actually in the first scene of Zoolander 2. He delivers Derek Zoolander's mail.
And that right there, that's all we have to say about how his agent fucked up.
Billy Zane's are probably one of the worst agents ever. Like, he's so hot. He's red hot.
Titanic and the Phantom. And that fucking hairline. That will never recede. I can see Billy Zane saying that at a bar.
I think we said that on Tombstone or something. Like, oh yeah, we'll get in a fight the day I lose my hair. Like, get out of here.
It's like, oh,
I
Billy.
got that commentary.
Like, Billy, I've seen pictures of your grandpa. I don't know, man. Say that shit's hereditary. All right, Boehner, you got any other ones?
Nope, that's all I got.
All right, well, if you have any good ones at home, please put them in the comments below if you're listening to us on YouTube. Actors or actresses whose agents really dropped the ball. This is a segment I feel like we could definitely do again, because I know Cycle's obviously not on tonight. Yes.
I think we could do one that's called How, and it's the opposite. Is how the fuck did an agent get this horrible actor that role?
That's a good one, too. Like Chris Tucker is in Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Example made.
It happens. I love her, but somehow Maggie Gyllenhaal is in The Dark Knight.
Somehow.
She's supposed to be Katie Holmes? All right. All right, well, the second part of our show is our pro shake, where we go around and talk about what is in our cup, also known as what have we watched lately. Guys, I have 4 things to talk about. So let's do a round robin, as is tradition. Geiger, if you don't mind, why don't we throw the ball in the paint to you? What's something you've seen?
Jeff. I was open. I was posting the guy up for days.
I know.
So I recently acquired HBO Max, and just to keep with my Macaulay Culkin thing, Getting Even with Dad was on this. And dude, this might be commentary material, because first, in '94, whoever was the producer of this or whatever, what great casting. So think about this, guys, because in '94 we're like, hey, Dad, take me to a movie with Macaulay Culkin. He rolls his eyes. Like, Ted Danson's in it. It's like, the guy from Cheers? Okay, let's go. That's perfect for dad and son to fucking go to. You got the Cheers guy, Macaulay Culkin. Macaulay Culkin billed before Ted Danson. That's got to kind of rub him the wrong way, doesn't it? Like, fucking, I mean, because you got to think, even though it's TV, this is when everyone watched TV. There was no streaming. And Cheers, would I say, I don't know. I don't remember MASH. But I would think Cheers is the biggest TV series ever for as long as it was.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe Friends could maybe compete with it because that was before streaming, but...
Dude, the guy Tom Parker, who wrote this movie, also wrote The Flintstones, Major League 2, and Richie Rich.
Just insane. So, Ted Danson, ex-con, has a kid, Macaulay Culkin. He just pawns him off on his sister because when he gets out of jail, he just didn't really tell her. And he's planning to rob a bank, but it's not money, it's coins, because this old lady died that he didn't know, but the government just basically confiscated her coins.
So did he just get out of jail and he's planning this heist again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of Danny Ocean-ish of him, if you will. But Jeff, just in case you're maybe a little slow and not sure that what he's doing is wrong, they made Ted Danson grow a ponytail. Because it's '94. Just so you know, hey, what he's doing is not fucking.
This guy's up to no good.
It's the only way you know if they're a good guy or a bad guy.
So then you got an FBI agent. Let's just make her a chick. And what's weird is when she starts following Ted Danson, and the only reason she knows or thinks that they stole the coins is because some drunk in a bathroom heard someone over talking about coins and then told the FBI and then asked for booze. So she's like, this seems like a credible lead.
It's called a source, Matt.
Well, she said, everything else is dry, Chief. I want to chase this till the end. But she starts to find Ted Danson attractive, like any undercover agent usually finds the person that they're, chasing attractive.
And he probably grew the ponytail to try and get less pussy, I would imagine.
Absolutely. So to get closer, just to crack the case, she starts dating Ted Danson.
Ugh.
Right.
Never ends well.
Matt. Jesus.
So did she expense the condoms?
I don't fucking know. Macaulay Culkin's trying to basically he takes the coins after they steal them and then makes him go on a treasure map and then makes his dad basically be a dad. He's like, if you be a dad for 2 days, takes him to a Giants game, sees Barry Bonds and all this other shit. It's actually I thought it was really bad because I don't remember liking it as a kid. It's actually, Banner, you'd really like this movie.
Would I?
Sounds like one of those movies where like Ted Danson quote unquote learns his lesson, but 5 minutes after the movie ends, he just goes back to his old ways.
Well, what's weird is he makes a pretty good point. He's like, hey, it's like, why should the government get these? They're not their coins, which is true. It's just an old lady, and she didn't have any kids to pass them down to. He's like, they're just gonna go to corrupt politicians so they could. And I'm just like, he's making a lot of sense here, actually. Like, he maybe should have stole the coins.
Is this a defend a villain situation?
It could be, really.
Matt, I'm gonna share my screen with you real quick. This guy, Hector Elizondo, it says is in it. Can you see him up on my screen?
Oh, yeah, that guy.
He's in, like, everything, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, does he play the police chief or a cop? Because he's always a fucking cop.
He's the chief, Jeff. Of course.
Of course he is. Of course he is. It's
And
stupid fucking question.
You know what's weird? He's just like, hey, I want to kind of make this role my own. So I'm going to play like I'm really overworked and I always need Tylenol and coffee and cigarettes. And
You're
my
a pain
wife
in
hates
my
me.
ass, Rodriguez. God,
I've never seen anyone play a police chief like that. It's really good. He's always yelling and upset.
Go listen to our Saw 5 commentary with Cycle and I, where we spend probably 30 minutes talking about like police dynamics in movies. And how like no one ever fucking listens to each other.
Yeah, it's like the chief's always about just one cigarette away from a heart attack for some reason. Just always taking Tums or something.
Oh, God, it's too great.
Yeah.
Getting Even with Dad. I'll be honest, I never heard of that movie.
Really?
Kind of sounds like do you remember the movie Dutch with Ed O'Neill and what's the fucking kid? He's in my. He was
Jeff, as a '90s kid, I can't believe you never heard of that movie.
Vegas Vacation. Dutch. Ethan Embry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same deal,
Right.
except it's worse. The kid's a shithead, and the dad is like trying to set him straight. All right. Matt, I'm telling you, I'm glad you got HBO Max because you're going to remind me of some great, like, they have like their catalog of, I guess, old films.
Way better movies.
So
God,
big.
so deep.
Way better movies.
It's really good. I'll put that on the list. Banner, what have you seen lately?
All right. I'm not even ashamed of it. I watched National Treasure and National Treasure 2 Book of Secrets. Guilty pleasure of mine, guys. Nicolas Cage, so fucking terrible. Just absolutely horrid. But I like the movies.
Are we getting a third one on Disney Plus? I thought I heard that.
So it's been in development hell for a long time. Nick Cage has really been pushing it for some reason. I don't know why. But I think it's kind of resurged because they go, well, it doesn't have to be as good if we drop it on Disney Plus.
I just find those movies like really fun and enjoyable.
They are. They're just. It's a nice, fun adventure treasure hunt movie. I mean, and it's like a kid's version of Fool's Gold, and I love Fool's Gold.
Okay, well now you've crossed a line. Fool's Gold sucks.
Shut up. It's great. Okay.
Also, if you're at home and didn't watch the first one and at least think for a second, like, dude, there is definitely a map on the back of the Declaration of Independence, then we just don't really, our minds don't work the same way.
Yeah.
So like, this just sounds actually real.
Pretty realistic.
Which one do you like better? Mount Rushmore, right? The first one's the Declaration.
Yes, the first one is all centered in like the Northeast. And
is Ed Harris the second one? And who's the villain in the first one?
The first one, I don't even know what the fucking guy's name is. It's like a nobody. But yes, Ed Harris is in the second one. I think I like the story better in the first one, but I think some of the jokes and some of the character dynamics are better in the second one.
Helen Mirren is in the first one?
I thought she was in the second one.
Bet your ass she is.
This says she's in the first one. I mean, maybe it's wrong. Well, this also says, I know this is film franchise. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Never mind.
She plays his mom. But
Helen Mirren is Nicolas Cage's mom.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. What are we doing? Christopher Plummer. Oh, that's his dad. That's right. Sean Bean. Oh, yeah. Villain from GoldenEye. He's in your Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I like the movies, all right? So
And Matt, he's famous from the "one does not simply" meme from Lord of the Rings.
yeah.
Of course, yeah. I love that meme. That's a good meme.
That's a great meme.
I thought that was from Game of the Thrones for so long until I watched Game of the Thrones, and I'm like, where is this guy? Because I've never seen Lord of the Rings.
All right, I watched Big Hero 6 on Disney Plus. Have either of you guys ever seen this? Probably.
So underrated. I actually watched this week too, but I decided to stop putting what I watch with my daughter on here just because it's way longer of a show.
Don't be afraid to put it on here because I'm going through the Disney Plus catalog here. Very, very good, very entertaining, great world building. Marvel, obviously they're Marvel characters, but I don't really think exist in the Marvel universe.
No, I think they're their own.
San Francisco obviously is a made-up place. Yeah. Sorry to break the hearts of some people out there. That
sounds awesome though. I definitely go on vacation.
Baymax is great. I really like the story here. The villain in the Kabuki Mask banner. Oh my! How was your daughter not scared to death of him?
I don't know. I was scared of him.
I was scared. I shit my pants. Kind of unrelated, but visually looks great. I was actually kind of surprised by the story and the way it ended. Like, did not totally see it coming. Yeah. I love T.J. Miller in anything. I mean, too bad he's like probably never going to work again, but he's fucking hilarious. And I didn't know this, and I won't go watch it, but this spawned a 70-episode animated series.
I have heard that it's 70 episodes?
Yeah.
I've heard that it's horrible.
Really?
So how the fuck did it get 70 episodes? This is a fun fact for you, too. This is the first Marvel entity or Marvel movie that Disney made after they bought Marvel.
Really?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I need to stand corrected. 66 episodes over 3 seasons.
Yeah, I heard it was not good. I have not checked it out yet, but I've heard bad things.
Kind of sucks because assuming it's canon to the movies, which I'm assuming. I mean, the way the movie ends, it literally sets itself up for either a sequel or something like this, like a serialized TV show. I'm guessing now that they did the show instead, we're not going to get a sequel movie.
I would assume so, but I would also say nothing's off the table. I mean, let's wait 20 years. They may bring it back.
I would like to see the live action treatment of this.
God, that'd be awesome.
Right? Baymax, one thing I did like about him, they didn't do too much with him. He wasn't like annoying, just kind of subtly.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they hit a lot of emotional beats on this, which is, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's like an emotional moment that happens
every 15 minutes.
Well, beginning of the second act that I was totally blindsided by.
Which one?
It happens after the expo.
Yes.
Where Hero shows.
Yes.
I mean, Jesus
crazy,
Christ.
Right?
And you keep thinking like, well, this has got to happen, right? And no, like that thing actually happened. All right, Geiger, what else have you seen lately? What's in your cup?
Okay, and guys, like movies that we've watched way back when, and we're like, man, this is fucking awesome, and then you haven't watched it in a while, and you're like, does it hold up? This movie I always thought was really good and very well acted, and I've just heard over the past couple of years people just shitting on it and making fun of it. So I decided to rewatch it, and that's Face Off. And I'll have to say, it does not hold up at all. I actually thought it was kind of good when I first watched it in middle school. Is
this on HBO Max also?
No, it was just on like Vice or something. I don't fucking know, but it was on some like weird IFC, like some one that has movies that without commercials. But it is fucking terrible. Like Travolta's bad in it. Like Nick Cage, I always thought that's like one role that was kind of for him. Like he was actually kind of good, but just the premise of it, like after a while, I'm just like, okay, there's no way this could be fucking possible. like it was made in the 90s. So you thought in 2020, you're like, okay, that could be possible. We could like take Banner's face off and put it on my body, and his wife, Brooke Banner, wouldn't know the difference. But like we're not even close to that. There's no fucking way that could happen. And
we were also supposed to have flying cars by the 80s. So.
And it's so weird. It's like a weird 90s action movie, but then there's very uncomfortable scenes because Nicolas Cage did kill his son, and now he's like sleeping with his wife, and it's just like weird shit. I don't know. I couldn't watch it. Like I finished it, and I didn't know it's like fucking long, like almost 2.5 hours long. Because I was thinking we should do a commentary on this, and I'm like, no, this is just way too fucking long. It's terrible.
I think you're failing to realize Face Off, and bear with me, it works two ways because it's like they trade their faces, but then they're also facing off against each other.
Yeah, I get the premise of the movie, and the poster made sense too with the Two-Face thing, but.
Yeah, so many people have stolen that poster, and Face Off is like, I mean, you guys can borrow it, but like that's kind of our plot also.
Our thing.
I used to kind of think that, oh man, what acting too, because they had to switch roles right in the middle of it. But I'm like, no, I mean, Travolta just plays it way too eccentric. It's just really fucking weird. I don't know. It doesn't work.
That would be I mean, if we can do a Titanic commentary, we can do Face Off. The people will demand it. Henrik's probably at home like, do fucking Face Off, bro.
He's like,
I'm starting to think Travolta's not that good an actor either.
Oh, no, not at all.
You threw out Pulp Fiction. Like, give me another movie that you were like, my God, like, he's fantastic.
And he's like the 7th best performance in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Face Off.
Wow.
Nice. Banner, how about you?
Up. I mean, I put it in the same category as Con Air, as like just like poppy shitty 90s, but Con Air is actually fun to watch. Face Off, after a while, you're like, okay, get this over with. This isn't very good.
Kill me now. Con Air's a blast. Check it out.
Con Air's very fun to watch. Check out our commentary on that.
Yeah. All right, Banner, what else you got?
All right, I watched the new Netflix movie Army of the Dead.
So did I. Let's talk about it.
Okay, let's do this.
Matt,
Zack Snyder, Dave Bautista.
Yeah. Did you watch it, Matt?
No, I've just heard all about WrestleMania was plugging it for Dave Bautista, so they had a lumberjack match. I don't know if you know what that is, but like two guys are in the ring, but if you get thrown out of the ring, then the lumberjacks beat you up and throw you back in the ring, but the lumberjacks were all zombies, which is stupid because, I mean, wrestling's supposed to be kind of real, you know? Like, not. I understand The Undertaker's risen from the dead like 20 times, but having 80 zombies outside the ring is just kind of fucking stupid.
Well, Matt, I mean, on the surface, I know you have a love-hate relationship with Zack Snyder, but it's Zack Snyder and a film entirely set in Vegas. So there are some elements.
How long is it?
That is the problem.
That is a huge problem with this movie.
And that's Zack Snyder's problem, I'm starting to realize in general.
Yeah.
If he shot an episode like for a TV show, he's like, okay, it's 3 hours. Like, but we only have a half-hour time slot. Like, you don't get it. Like, this is all we're.
It's like, okay, well, you're welcome. I just gave
He's
you.
He's like, all right, well, this is
1.
season 3, episode 8, Schneider cut.
Exact. There is no Snyder cut. It's a fucking show. All right, sorry, Banner, I cut you off. You go first.
No worries. I really like the premise. I really like the story. I thought the action scenes were shot really, really well. I thought Dave Bautista acted his fucking ass off. I thought he was really good in this role. This movie was about an hour too long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I agree with most of that. I think Bautista doesn't overact.
No.
If you're an actor out there and you have like limited skills, just always know.
Just stay in your lane.
Pull it back, right? Like, you're less likely to get in a car accident if you just tap in the brake than if you hit the accelerator. Same thing for actors. If you don't have the ability, just fucking pull the reins back a little bit.
Dude, Zack Snyder is like Banner on The Weeknd. Like, if he would just stop drinking at midnight, it would have been fine. Like, nothing would have burnt down. But he just kept drinking. Yeah. Snyder's always like, if it was just an hour shorter, like, this would have been fine.
But Banner, I'll say this. I'm with you. And this is where I think Matt, you know, his initial intrigue will be there till he clicks play and sees it's 2 hours and 31 minutes.
Yes.
But the concept, so I love zombie movies. I wrote a whole squad blog about this. And the thing I love is because people are always trying to reinvent the genre. Like, all right, everybody's seen the zombie film, guy gets bit, starts the, you know, zombie apocalypse. What's a wrinkle we can put on that? And having 24 hours to heist a casino in quarantined, zombified Vegas is a really cool concept, right? Two things I think are huge missed opportunities here. Number one, knowing what this movie is, I think Snyder actually focused too much on characters and not enough on this idea.
I agree 100% with
like,
that.
Give me way more Vegas.
Now, with this being said, I read that they want to do a prequel and a sequel to this movie. And I think...
Are doing a prequel animated series on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what it is then. Which I think that'll be really good.
Right, but this movie needs to exist on its own, you know?
I agree 100%.
And the other thing, and this is like criminal to me, and Matt's going to fucking kill himself when I say this. There is not a single scene in this movie that takes place on the strip or at night in Las Vegas with zombies.
So what is it? Just in the casino the whole time?
They go in during the day. Like, it really could have been any city is what the problem is, right? Like, it could have been Chicago. The only thing is, like, Siegfried and Roy's tiger is zombified.
Which is fucking scary as balls.
But they...
Yeah, if it's not in Vegas, you don't have pictures of the skyline. I bet Snyder's like, oh, you want pictures? Just wait till the extended director's cut. I'm like, I've already wasted 2.5 hours on this thing.
I know. I wanted them to do more, like... I don't know, make it more Vegas-centric, like be on the strip, have the lights on, be in the Bellagio. I don't know. It's a genius concept, but Snyder, and I get it, man, if he didn't, but I'm not going to watch Army of the Dead and be like, well, you didn't focus enough on character. You know what I'm saying? It's too much of a movie and not enough of just this idea.
Now, Jeff, what did you think about the twist on the zombies?
You mean what happens at the end, or with the like way the zombies are kind of organized?
Just their organization, their social structure.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
I really liked it. I really liked. I always like zombies that are fast moving and almost like athletic and agile. Like I
Am
really
Legend type zombies.
I Am Legend, World War Z. I love those, and I thought that was a lot what worked here, but. Well, I don't want to give anything away. They do something else with some of the zombies that was, in my mind, really cool, and I don't think we've seen yet.
I think I know what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely some interesting stuff there. One thing I kind of liked, too, was the knowledge that the humans had on the zombies. Like, they had a pretty good scouting report going in.
Yes.
Which is kind of a rarity for these zombies.
That blonde chick... She did her fucking homework. Yeah.
Yeah, she knew what was going on. But yeah, I mean, Matt, I think you can knock this out in like 2 sittings, and I think you'll enjoy it. But
I didn't know it was in Vegas. Like, I'm gonna watch it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually think you'll like
Batista.
it, and I think you'll have the same complaints we do. It's just too long.
Okay.
It takes
I don't mind Batista. I'm really surprised how great of acting he is, because as a wrestling fan, he was never one. You know, like you think of people that have been in, like, you know, Hulk Hogan, John Cena, The Rock. They all had like big personalities. Batista was never good on the mic, or, you know, maybe he would have been if they let him say more, but he was always just kind of the muscle. He never really said that much.
Right. His acting career, I think, is, if it's a surprise to you, it's got to be a surprise to everybody, right?
Oh, yeah. If you're a wrestling fan, I would say it's a pretty big surprise. They're like, dude, he never really... I mean, he wasn't like CM Punk or like Jericho or anyone like that. They're like, oh man, he's talking. Everyone shut up. Let's listen to what he has to say. He was never that guy. Very athletic in the ring. Very awesome wrestler.
Last thing I'll say, and this is just kind of an interesting thing to keep in mind as you watch it. So Tig Notaro, who plays the helicopter pilot in the movie, Banner, you probably already knew this.
Yeah.
She, that role was actually played by Chris D'Elia, who filmed the entire movie. And after his, issue with hitting on underage girls, he was removed from the film digitally, and Tig Notaro filmed the whole movie in his role. And she says she's never even met Dave Bautista, but digitally she's in like 10 scenes with him. It's kind of
crazy. Is crazy because they have great chemistry on scene.
I was gonna say,
like, I didn't know that. I thought they did reshoots with everything that she was in. I didn't realize she
Banner.
Yeah,
digitized it.
We're at the point where we're just gonna film all movies work from home now.
Manti Te'o dated a girl for 4 years online.
They were in
love.
To
be a girl, but you get the point.
Dare you? He cried when she allegedly died. All right, well, Army of the Dead knocks 2 things off our list. I watched 2 other things. I'll just run through these quick. One I saw in theaters. Again, Horns is back on AMC A-list, so
yeah.
I'm pretty much going to be seeing everything new. But I saw the movie Nobody, which is the Bob Odenkirk. It's basically like John Wick, if you've seen the trailers, right?
What it look like?
And I went in to watch it, and it is straight up fucking John Wick. Like, it's insane. Name a plot beat in the first John Wick minus the dog. The dog of this movie is replaced with his daughter's bracelet, who some home invaders take. They take his daughter's bracelet on accident. Is John Wick. Now, where this thing I think actually, and I put this in my Letterboxd review, where I think this thing actually kind of has a leg up on John Wick is the character of Hutch, who is Bob Odenkirk in this movie, I think is actually way more fun in this scenario than John Wick is, because he's an older guy who's he does accounting at a steel mill, He's sort of all shucksy doodles, and it turns out that he was actually a fucking lunatic psycho.
But he's not about that life no more, Jeff. Until.
But it plays a little funny. In John Wick, we obviously have kind of the meta scene where he's like, I'm thinking, I'm back. And he comes back. But it's sort of funnier to see the turn, because there's a scene, I won't spoil it too much, but where Bob Odenkirk purposely stops a bus because some guys are being douchebags. And he tells the bus driver, listen, I'm going to murder everyone on this bus. Here is your cell phone. Why don't you just take a lap around the block? And that happens. But guys, where this thing really hits it knows what it is, right? It's like a John Wick ripoff. But the ancillary cast in the first movie, in a pretty big role, didn't even know he was still alive, but he kicks ass in this movie. Christopher Lloyd.
Oh,
wow.
Doc Emmett Brown is
still alive?
Dude, he's awesome in this movie. He's great.
What's he not awesome in?
I just didn't know he's still alive.
I honestly did not either.
I thought he died in 2005.
February of last year. Do you okay, you got money in front of you. You're going to put money on him to survive COVID? No fucking way.
Zero chance. But he's great in this, dude. So,
we think he is Betty White.
It's an hour 24 minutes. We get in.
Okay.
We get in. We get out. Some asses kicked. Great theater watch.
There grilled chicken salad, nice and light. Okay, I like
exactly. It. With not even any bread on the side. We just have a walk.
Gluten free.
There were two teenage couples on a date behind me in the movie. I went to see it at 5:00, and they were really loud early on, and I was like, look, if you guys just want to fucking make out, do that, but don't be screaming. Luckily, they left 20 minutes in when they realized that I was here for work, and I was able to enjoy it by myself. So nobody. I highly recommend. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
4 out of 5. Damn.
Spoiler alert, might be up for a Brosker next year.
Okay.
Maybe the Nerdy Chick in High School Who Got Hot award it was nominated for by me. I don't know. Go check it out, because Bob Odenkirk is great in this role. And surprise, surprise, Matt, guess what ethnicity the villains are?
Russian?
What?
What? No way.
Get real.
No way they're Russian.
I love how we're just still clinging to the fucking Berlin Wall shit from the fucking 60s, villain Rocky.
Yeah, the day that we like the Russians is the day that I decide that I'm no longer fit for this planet.
I guess it's still, they got Putin. It's still relevant, I guess.
They still fucking suck. Last thing I watched, it was obviously a rewatch. Remember the Titans on Disney Plus, and everything that you think you remember about this movie is true. It's great. Denzel's incredible. The Gary Bertier Julius arc is great. One thing I do have to say on a rewatch gets kind of annoying is Hayden Panettiere's character as Coach Yost's daughter.
The chick that knows football. Yeah, that's really annoying. It's just funny to hear chicks talking about routes. Cam Newton.
That's right.
Great quote.
It is. As a kid, I remember thinking or I guess as a teen, oh, that's kind of funny. She's screaming at the players. You go back and rewatch it, and you're like, dude, will she just shut the fuck up?
But she's gonna be hot, so.
There's one scene that Coach Boone actually calls her out, and she's watching film with him, and she's like, "We're running the veer all wrong," and he goes, "We're on defense." I'm like, wow, she really doesn't no idea what she's talking about, does she? But remember the Titans. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I
For a Disney fucking sports movie, it's actually good.
Yeah, it's really good. 5
but it's also based on true events as opposed to.
It's true.
Which, Miracle, that one was too, and that's a good movie as well.
Yeah.
It's when they have to make up their own shit is when it's bad.
So there wasn't a dog playing white golden receiver or whatever?
Nothing in the rules against it, Matt. Nothing in the rules against it. Anytime Matt and I are at the bar and someone orders tequila shots and we have to take one, we pull ourselves aside and do the left side, strong side. Start pushing each other.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. All right, that's all I got. Matt, you got anything else?
I just have a request. Can someone watch this since we all have HBO Max? Ace Ventura Pet Detective Jr.
No.
Is on HBO Max. I'm really surprised this is one that Jeff hasn't watched because for some reason he just loves watching really shitty movies, which is entertaining to talk about on pod. But I mean, just like half an hour of this, we have to. Someone. I've almost clicked on it, but I watched Getting Even with Dad instead.
So I'm going to watch this because you've asked me to. And let me
watch it with your wife. See what she thinks.
Do you remember, like, off the top of your head, the runtime of it?
I have it.
It can't be more than an hour 31, right? There's no way.
Hour 33. I mean, it's a kid's comedy.
What's it called? Ace Ventura Pet Detective Jr.?
Yeah. And for some reason, it looks like it has the dog from The Mask, which makes no sense.
That guy was white hot in the 90s. So
Josh Flitter is the actor's name. And Cusack's in it.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Is that... what Cusack is that?
Wait, which one is it?
Does John and Joan have another sister named Anne?
Her name is Anne?
Anne Cusack.
Is that like Ashley Hemsworth?
Is that like is she related to Joan and John Cusack? I don't know.
Banner, Ashley Hemsworth. That's so disrespectful.
I know, he's actually a really good actor.
All right, so Geiger, I was stalling here. So I have organized throughout the course of, this is our 5-year anniversary coming up in September, and we're all putting together our top 100 movies of all time.
So exhausting.
Which we'll reveal then. And I've had my list together. I've ranked every movie I've ever watched since I can remember. My list totals 996 movies. And when you mentioned this movie, Matt, I started thinking, where will it end up on this list after I watch it? And just for reference point, of those 996, a movie that I watched probably a year and a half ago called MXP Most Extreme Primate about a monkey who snowboards. That is 970 out of 996.
Oh, you watch... There's one where he skateboards. I haven't seen one where he snowboards.
That's MVP, Most Vertical Primate.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. I stand corrected.
Christ. That's like what amateur hour here on the podcast.
Is Cuba in that?
Oh my God, he was probably scheduling conflicts with Land Before Time.
It honestly wouldn't surprise us, would it?
No,
he loves being in movies with animals.
And if the animal plays a sport, even better. So Matt, what I want to ask you, just a prediction. So Most Extreme Primate is 970 out of 996. Will Ace Ventura Jr. fall above, meaning it'll be like 969, 968, or will it be ranked lower than?
I think it'll be above because I think you'll go into it like, okay, this is like a Nickelodeon movie, so don't expect too much of it.
Okay.
Even though they're taking a adult concept of it, because Ace Ventura, I don't fucking know.
So is
it supposed to be like Ace Ventura when he was a kid?
No, I think it's supposed to be his son.
Then where's he? Dead?
And he's saving his mom. The plot, Jeff, is he's saving his mom, who apparently either was framed or did kidnap a panda. So apparently Ace Ventura got married and had this kid. I don't fucking know.
And I'm guessing Ace Ventura, of course, never shows up in the film.
No. And Courtney Cox isn't the mom.
Isn't the mom?
She's not.
I'm not interested.
They can't book her. I mean, Jesus Christ. There's only so much money to go around.
Which makes the question, why make the movie? But whatever. Matt, just so you know, you'll take solace in this. So again, 996 movies I've ranked. 993 on this list is Blade Runner 2049.
This is one of the worst fucking movies I've ever fucking seen in my life.
This is all it is for 3 hours.
Dave Bautista's in that too.
Yeah, for 8 seconds. And he's making
coffee. But the way he makes coffee, they act like he has a fucking detonator to destroy the world. It's like so direct. He's like, man, we're gonna direct the shit out of it. Like he's just making coffee. Like, why are we trying so hard?
Dude, and he has talked about that role, like this opportunity opened up so many doors for me. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That movie sucked ass.
All right, well, just a little tease for our top 100 list at the end of the year. I'm excited to see. Then we'll have to reveal our bottom 100 at some point, even though I've just given you 2 of mine. So, all right, anything else in anyone's cup?
No, I'm good.
All right, well, that brings us to the last part of the show. Brian is way to multitask. The noise of that parrot brings us to our Do You Even Lift Bruh segment, which is the question and answer part of our show.
I can't wait till we actually get a parrot to say that.
I mean, we can let you expense it on the company card if you promise you'll train him to say, Do you even lift bruh?
What else would I train it to say?
I don't know.
Hello? Please.
It probably wouldn't be that hard, right? If everything I've seen about parrots in movies is true.
You can get a tiger for $500.
Oh, yeah, because fucking Jeff Lowe's zoo just got raided. Probably on the cheap.
Yeah.
Nice. Anyway, our Do You Even Lift Bra question today.
The man's down lately.
Takes us to a galaxy far, far away. And guys, I think it was Cycly or maybe you, Geiger, sent us this in the group chat this week, and we had to talk about it. So this is according to Collider.com. J.J. Abrams was never supposed to direct more than one film in the Star Wars franchise. When he was first approached about tackling Episode 7, he turned it down. It took some convincing on then-new Lucasfilm head Kathleen Kennedy's part to get Abrams to agree to sign on. In doing so, Abrams said at the time he was excited about the idea of creating a foundation from the ground up from which other stories might grow. And here is the quote that has the internet buzzing from J.J. Abrams, quote, I feel like what I've learned as a lesson a few times now, probably talking about Lost, and it's something that especially in this pandemic year working with writers has become clear. The lesson is that you have to plan things as best you can, and you always need to be able to respond to the unexpected. And the unexpected can come in all sorts of forms. And I do think that there's nothing more important than knowing where you're going. End quote. Geiger, Abrams, and again, I appreciate his honesty, but he essentially admits Kathleen Kennedy putting together at this point, Star Wars has probably grossed almost $50 billion worldwide. Put together the sequel trilogy with literally no plan as to where it was going to go, and Abrams admits this. Where are your thoughts on this? Because we speculated this for a while, and I think this is insane to actually hear confirmed from the lips of one of the directors.
Okay, I'm not saying they shouldn't have maybe 3 scripts, but they should have had an A, B, and C of where we're going. Like, hey, Snoke's the bad guy. We're going to tell a story. We're going to pretend he's dead and then bring him back or whatever. And you basically have a director come in. I mean, Marvel does this too. And actually, maybe we shouldn't go with the Marvel template. Maybe Marvel's just like Jordan. Like, you're not going to have another fucking Jordan. What they're doing maybe is impossible because no one else can fucking do it. But you have to at least have a fucking idea, not just have Rian Johnson come in, do whatever you want, and the next director just has to pick up the scraps. I mean, this is fucking Star Wars. Especially, Lucas had all these books written out, so he knew what story he was going to tell. And if you read the books, you kind of knew where it was going to go. But this is unbelievable that literally everything that we said on pod actually happened behind closed doors. They had Snoke. They were going to build him up. He was going to be a big reveal. Rian Johnson just killed him off. And Abrams like, I guess I'll just bring back Palpatine. There's no fucking way. Well, you just said it. They didn't have a plan. There's no way they were planning on bringing back Palpatine from the first one. They weren't even hinting at it at all. So they just brought him back, which made no fucking sense at all, just to have him there. And basically, not only did they fuck up the new trilogy, they kind of pissed on the old one because Palpatine's whole fucking story arc was just fucked because you just brought him back anyway and he didn't even die. It's unbelievable that Disney would just hire someone and let this happen. It is literally unfucking believable how unorganized that is.
Yeah, the amount of money you put behind these things and you don't have a plan. And Matt, like you're saying, you can let directors really write their own movies for the most part, but like Marvel does, you have a roadmap. Like, we need to end up here. Right. You can give, Rian Johnson still could have probably done most of the stuff he did, but that's why we almost said it was an impossible job JJ had in picking up the very last film, Episode 9, because what the fuck is he supposed to do? Rian Johnson, singed off all the loose threads that he had before. Boehner, you're the Star Wars completist. You've seen everything. How do you feel about these comments from Abrams? Again, I appreciate his honesty because it takes balls to admit this, but it's insane that, again, the suspicions we had that Kathleen Kennedy, head of Lucasfilm, like, what are you doing if you don't have a roadmap for your sequel trilogy?
First off, for him to agree to do the third movie after what he was left with, and basically how they shit on his first, which at the time, fantastic movie, and I still really like The Force Awakens as a single movie.
Right.
But that foundation that he made and that he talks about here, they just completely bulldozed through. For him to come back, Kathleen Kennedy has to give a great blowjob. I mean, that's the only explanation that he would come back. And I think that this is the nail in the coffin for her. I think Favreau or Dave Filoni, I probably prefer Favreau, is going to take over Lucasfilms, or needs to. But now if you have your directors coming back and going, yeah, look, we had no plan, I almost didn't do it, she really had to drive a hard bargain, blah, blah, blah. Like, that, if you're the board of directors, like, how do you keep her after this?
I mean, let's look at the Lucasfilm projects she has headed. The sequel trilogy, this comes out. Solo, which, again, we liked, but the Lord and Miller issue. And then the Rogue One reshoots, which, again, we liked, but for all intents and purposes was a fucking mess in production. And then you look at how smoothly Favreau has handled 6 directors per season for The Mandalorian, the 2 seasons. I mean, I'm kind of with you. Like, if you're looking at which way they're trending, if I'm Disney, I'm like, look, Star Wars is hard to fuck up, but it seems like somehow Kathleen Kennedy has found a way to do that.
The one thing about The Force Awakens, and we've all had opinions on that, and my opinion swayed the more I saw it. The first time I saw it, I didn't like what they did with Kylo Ren, but I would think everyone is in agreement on one thing. At the very end of the movie, when you walked out of it, you say, oh, I had a problem with this, but you're like, but I'm interested in where they're going with this. And that's all they need to do with that movie. Just don't fuck it up and just be interested. Like, you know what? In 4 years or whenever it's coming out, I can't remember if it was 2 or 4. I'm interested in where they're going with this. I'm interested in what is Rey. I'm interested in, what are they going to do with Kylo? I'm interested in Finn, because they basically just introduced him and didn't do anything with it. And then after the second movie, I'm like, okay, I was interested in all these people. You killed off the people I was most interested in. The other people just seem dormant. There's no character arc at all except for Rey. They tried to arc her character, but I don't even think Kylo's character arced. Finn didn't do anything. Poe didn't do anything. Like, none of these characters, like, if you go back to the originals, all their characters.
I was going to say, what's the opposite of an arc? Because that's what they did with Finn.
But Matt, you're the only one here that's seen. Oh, Banner, have you seen Lost?
Yeah, I've seen like 5 seasons, and then I was like, this is just too much.
But it's the same deal, Matt. And I guess it takes some talent to a degree, but like, if you're JJ and you can pose all these questions without having the answers, I don't know, is that really something to be proud of? Because that sort of now seems like his MO.
Lost is a different enemy, and I'll speak to this as educated as I can, which isn't much, but in TV, I believe that you have a pilot, you have this cool idea, and then you get written on for 1 season, and you never know when you're just going to be canceled. Yeah. And Lost, I think, is they're just like, we want another one. They're like, dude, I just wrote, JJ's probably like, I wrote this and I was going to end it after 4 seasons. They're like, no, we need 7 more, 8 more. So I don't really blame JJ for Lost. I really don't. I think he knew where he wanted to end it, and if he would have just ended it after like 4 seasons, it actually would have been a pretty complete show. They're in purgatory the whole time. That's what most people thought. Still, it was a fucking cool kind of idea, but they just dragged it on for so long. Star Wars is a completely different animal. Like, you had years to develop this, and you even threw away the canon stories that were fucking perfect to come up with your own, which you could do a holy shit moment like Luke, I am your father. There was never that moment in these at all.
The closest you got to that is Force Awakens at the very end, where she hands Luke the lightsaber.
Right.
And you just see, he doesn't even fucking say anything. That's the closest thing you got to it, but also we were waiting for Luke to show up the entire time because he was on set for 4 fucking months.
Yeah.
So,
well, and then Rian Johnson made quick work of shitting on that moment with the very first scene of
threw it over his shoulder.
Right. The Last Jedi by having Luke toss it over and then go suck on a manatee's tit.
And then Luke was even, I mean, Mark Hamill's even like, who is this character? I don't even know what the hell he's doing with this. Like, he was so pissed.
See, and I think that's another slight on Kathleen Kennedy is now you have the biggest actor or one of the biggest actors in the entire franchise coming out and saying the director that you picked and the direction that he went is completely fucking wrong. Mark Hamill has been Luke Skywalker longer than Rian Johnson has been alive.
And he's like a
I don't
nice
know if
dude,
that's
too.
true.
I don't think he bitches too much about roles.
No, I've never.
He did on that one.
But Rian Johnson spells his name R-I-A-N, so
Disgusting.
show your respects. All right, I think that'll do it for episode 153. Guys, closing thoughts. What do you want to leave the people with? Matt, we'll let you go first.
Like, fucking end on a bad note. I'm pissed off now. I don't even want to go to bed.
I'm afraid that's what Do You Even Lift Bro is becoming, because I find stories on the internet that I know will anger our enforcer.
Fuck it.
Well, if you get so angry and you end up hurting yourself and you're headed to the hospital, everybody that listens is going to pull over for those emergency vehicles. So you can sleep easy tonight, Geiger.
There we go. Well, my new thing when I let people go actually also involves driving. And it's don't be afraid to turn left at those flashing yellow lights.
Oh, yeah, yield.
Now, be safe and be cautious, but I've been stuck behind people these past few weeks where I don't know if they're asleep at the wheel or texting or what, but I rarely honk my horn at them, but I'm just like, dude, please pay attention. Because to me, that's a microcosm. If you're not paying attention there, I'm a little worried what you're going to do later on down the road.
I was just going to ask, how quick are you with the horn?
I'm not too quick with it. Because fortunately, usually I'm not in like a dire emergency. But if I had to piss really bad or if Chick-fil-A was about to close, you better believe I'd be laying on the horn.
Okay. As long as we have that criteria and it's out there, people know now.
Now, you know mad horns can come out an occasional moment, but typically I feel like I'm relatively level-headed.
Yes.
All right, for our enforcer in the paint, Matt Geiger, for the mad scientist, Brian Boehner, I am the mayor, Jeff Hornacek, and we are the Bro Force Squad podcast. We really appreciate you guys listening to us. Follow us on Twitter at Bro Force Squad. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube if you type in Bro Force Squad as 3 separate words. You can find all of our reviews on letterboxd.com if you type in those same 3 words. And check out everything that we do on our website, broforcesquad.com. Till next time, we need to write a strongly worded letter to Kathleen Kennedy.
Honestly, they should just hire us for her job.
Yeah.
We couldn't do any worse.
We've been saying that for years. We'll be like a half the price. At least.
At least. What's she pulling down? It's got to be good money, right?
Oh, $10 million.
Still won't see Knives Out just out of protest.